Hey, it's Patrick Grosser with Fathom Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home and you want to sell quickly for top dollar, you need to know what your options are, regardless of whether you decide to do it on your own or hire professional help. Let's get started. Now that you understand how to market your home effectively by focusing on quality, pricing, and exposure, and you've walked through the process of selling your home step by step, let's take a look at some of your options to list and sell your home. The first option is one of the most recent ones to the marketplace, and that is the iBuyer. This is a company that's going to offer you cash for your home. You don't need to do any repairs or any showings. It's similar to the way CarMax operates, where you bring your car in, you get a cash offer that day. What they're going to do is pay you a wholesale price, and they're going to make a profit by selling it at a retail price, sometimes with some repairs or cleaning up and sometimes not. So although it's convenient, of course, they're taking some of that profit from you. So you can look at that as a convenience fee. So it is very convenient. So it is appealing in that way. It's worth at least looking into how much that fee is and would it be worth it. According to a study by MarketWatch in 2019, the average homeowner that worked with an iBuyer actually netted 11% less than working with a real estate agent. So your convenience fee on an average home in the Cincinnati market would be $27,500. So of course, how you sell your home is completely up to you. It's your asset, but you need to know what the real cost is. You can, of course, do more research online and vet this, but this is according to an independent study, not a study done by realtors, so it is not biased. This is a very hefty fee for the convenience of working with an iBuyer. Another option you have to list is to go for sale by owner. The biggest problem with this is the limited access to buyers. If you don't have access to the MLS, as we've discussed before, you don't have access to most buyers because most buyers are working with an agent. You also need to account for your out-of-pocket expenses. You need a sign, you need a lockbox, you may have to pay a website to list your property. You also may want to hire a lawyer or a real estate lawyer even to review contracts and help you discern what the terms and conditions of the contract are. If you're also running any additional exposure, any ads on Facebook or Google or any classified ads, you need to account for that as well. Of course, we recommend you do professional photography in order to put your home in its best light. To market it properly, you would need to pay a photographer, possibly a videographer as well. So these are things you want to account for. It may still be worth it to you, but just make sure you tally all of those expenses up. Of course, if you've never sold a home before, you have very limited experience. Even if you've sold one or two homes before, of course, you have less experience than an agent would to help you. So we all know no matter what we're doing, limited knowledge and limited experience tends to cause mistakes. So the mistakes you could make would be not presenting your home properly, the quality of your home or the quality of your listing being flawed in that way. Perhaps you might price your home either too high or too low, or you may get, again, limited exposure with the MLS, or perhaps you're not exposing yourself in other ways that you could be if you had more professional advice. So these are potentially very costly mistakes. It's impossible to quantify how much that would cost you, but it is just a risk that you're taking if you're listing for sale by owner. Another thing to account for that's a really big chunk of the potential savings that you would have against working with an agent is that in most cases, you're going to have to pay a buyer's agent 3%. Again, you don't have access to the MLS, so you don't have access to those buyers. But if you're on Zillow, for example, buyers are, of course, going to be on there. And if they have an agent, they'll tell their agent about it. The agent will show the property if they want to write an offer, and they get under contract and you close. That's all well and good, but the buyer's agent is going to need to be compensated. So typically one of the questions you'll get if you're doing for sale by owner, an agent will call you and ask, are you cooperating with agents? Which essentially means, are you going to pay me for my services? Agents typically get 3% of the sale price through the MLS, so they expect the same compensation when they're working with a for sale by owner listing. So again, if you're thinking of saving the 6% of it that a typical agent will charge, cut that in half, because you're most likely going to have to work with a buyer that has an agent who needs to be compensated. And of course, the biggest issue of all for most people doing for sale by owner is that they have to do all of the work themselves. If you have time on your hands and if you really enjoy doing things yourself, this may be a good fit for you. But if your time is really valuable, if you don't have a lot of extra time, if you want to spend more quality time with your family, whatever the case may be, you just want to consider all of the steps that we've gone through, walking through the sales process and also getting the listing ready to market. All of that is going to have to be done by you, by yourself. So selling a home can be very stressful, even with professional help. It only gets much worse if you're doing everything by yourself. Another option you have to list your home for sale is to work with a flat fee or a limited service agent. They tend to have a one-size-fits-all approach, which means they're not going to customize the services that they offer for you. If you need something different, it's not an option. Everybody gets the exact same services for the exact same price. They're also going to charge upfront fees. So this is a problem as a home seller if you think about it critically, because the more you pay them upfront, the less financial incentive they have to close the deal. So they may be very eager to list your property. They're getting paid upfront, but they may not have much incentive to help you actually find a buyer and help you get that buyer to the closing table. Of course, they want good customer reviews, so they do want to make you happy, but this is just something you want to think about, their lack of financial incentive to actually bring you to closing. Professional photography is not guaranteed. Some of them may offer that. Some of them may charge extra for that. I think it's absolutely essential to list your home. It's your biggest asset, possibly your largest windfall financially that you'll have in selling anything. And professional photography is not that expensive. It is an upfront expense, but it's absolutely worth every penny in order to market your home effectively. Additional marketing that we've discussed, like advertising on Facebook, Google, Instagram, YouTube, whether it's running ads or organic reach, those may not be included or may not even be offered. Also, if you're working with a limited service agent, you're going to have to do most of the work yourself. One example would be a flat fee MLS access type of limited service agent. You can pay $500 or something like that to get in the MLS, but then you field all the phone calls, emails, text messages from agents and buyers. You show the home, you negotiate the contracts, you deal with all the paperwork. If something goes wrong and the contract is terminated, you start all over and do it all over again yourself. So they're just selling, in this case, access to the MLS, which does have value, but just be aware that you're not getting the service of a full service agent in that case. And the agents, because of the upfront fee, are paid regardless of whether you sell. Again, lack of financial incentive to bring you to the closing table. Depending on what they charge up front, they're getting that, and there's no refund if you don't sell. The option you're probably most familiar with is working with a traditional real estate agent. Like the flat fee or limited service agents, they have a one-size-fits-all approach. So regardless of how different your needs are from their other clients, they're going to treat you exactly the same. Yes, it's true, the process of selling a home is similar, but they're not going to address your specific needs. The fact that your home is unique, your circumstances are unique. They just have one plan and one price. Part of that plan is a 6 to 12 month contract that is required. So regardless of whether or not you're happy with their service, if you sign a 6-month or a 12-month contract, you're stuck with that agent for that time period. And again, because it is a one-size-fits-all plan, you get a one-size-fits-all price. Regardless of how many transactions you've worked with them in the past, or if you're buying and selling at the same time, or if you already have some of the work done and you don't need all of their services, you just need some of them, you're typically not going to get a discount. Also, believe it or not, professional photography is not guaranteed. I've seen many examples in the MLS. Homeowners list with an agent, they pay the full fee, but I can tell from the poor quality of the photos that the agent snapped pictures with their smartphone. The lighting's bad, the images are blurry, even the photography is not arranged in a sensible manner. So it's very important that you ask this question if you're thinking about working with a traditional agent to make sure you're going to get professional photography. Also, the additional marketing that we've discussed, Facebook, YouTube, Google, Instagram, again, whether it's paid or organic, may not be included and may not even be offered. And one thing that most people don't think about because they don't understand the business model is that the agent actually doesn't risk his or her own money. The reason why they have to offer a one-size-fits-all plan for the same price, regardless of your needs, is because the broker is actually paying for the overhead expenses of the sign, the lockbox, the agent's website fees, their access to the MLS. Many different fees are covered, and they pay the broker back as part of their commission. They give what's called a commission split to the broker. So again, the broker handles many of the upfront costs, and then the agent pays them back when and if they close. So if the agent doesn't sell your home, doesn't close on it, they don't actually owe anything to anybody. Of course, they've spent time, so they do want to close and they want to make that commission check, but they do not lose any money. So this is very important to understand. It explains the reason why their approach is very inflexible. It's because the broker is trusting that the agent can get the job done, but in order for the agent to be able to offer their services, the broker, and get their services paid for by the broker is requiring the 6 to 12 month contract at this specific price with very little or no flexibility for the customer. Another option to consider when you're listing and selling your home is my approach and how it differs from the traditional real estate agent. As we've discussed, the traditional agent will offer you a one-size-fits-all approach. I offer custom service to fit your specific needs, so you only pay for what you need. I also offer discounts if you've worked with me in the past, if you're buying and selling at the same time and utilizing my service for both transactions, and even if we find a buyer who's not represented by a buyer's agent and therefore doesn't need to compensate an agent, I can offer you a discount in that case as well. I offer flexible contract terms, so you don't have to commit to a 6 or 12 month contract. And I always guarantee professional photography with every listing. Again, I believe it's absolutely essential in order to market your home effectively to have professional photography for your listing. I also offer additional marketing, aerial photography, videography, video tours, advertising, organically and through paid ads on Facebook, Instagram, Google, and YouTube. And most importantly, not only do I guarantee your satisfaction with my service, I actually put my money on the line. I pay upfront for the professional photography, any additional marketing that you require to sell your home, and I only get paid at closing if I deliver on my promises. So if our contract is up and I haven't made you happy, I haven't closed on the sale of your home, you don't owe me any money whatsoever. And not only did I lose my time, but I also lost my own money as well. So hopefully you understand the difference between that and a traditional agent. I have my skin in the game, and I'm extremely confident if I take your listing that I'm going to get the job done right. Thanks for watching. I hope you've learned enough to make an informed decision about the best way to list your home and sell quickly for top dollar. If you'd like to learn more about my service, or if you have any questions about the selling process, click the link or copy and paste it into your browser. It'll prompt you to answer a few questions to help me better understand your needs and your communication preference. Thanks again, and we'll talk soon.